Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
This is my top 5 movie cars. Now, when I say cars, I'm not just limiting it to like sedans and coupes. I'm talking about cars. I'm talking about trucks. I'm talking about vans. I'm talking about vehicles that use 4 wheels as transportation as a vehicle in a movie. A lot of great movies have there's a lot of iconic cars in a lot of great movies. And I wanted to put my list together of cars that I wish I had. And I put my list together of like a well-rounded list. Like, it's not just going to be 5 muscle cars or 5 like cars that are completely imaginary. I wanted to have a holistic group, a drafting of 5 cars that would be the all-star team of transportation, as it were. And I wanted to make sure they were cars that I would actually love and cars that have stood out to me as I've watched movies, as I've been a fan of movies throughout my movie career, if that's even a thing, my film watching career. But let's get it started, shall we, with my 5th favorite car from a movie. This is a car that is fictional in ways. And this car would be, as far as categories of cars, this would be my off-road vehicle, the all-terrain vehicle. This is the post-apocalyptic vehicle I would want if things start going sideways in our society. If things keep going the way they're going, I would love to have one of these vehicles. And that vehicle coming in at number 5 is the Tumbler, the Batmobile from Batman Begins. It is Bruce Wayne's, aka Batman's car. It is it's a off-road tank style vehicle. It's got custom weapons. It's got a machine gun on the front, a rocket launcher. It's got a jet engine that helps it do the bridge jumps. It's got stealth mode, so it can drive around in silence because it's got an electrical motor. It can throw mines out, so if people are following me, I got a bunch of Trump supporters on my ass and they want to kill me during the next civil war, I can just drop a bunch of mines to just kind of blow them up as they're pursuing me. And it's got ramming capabilities as well. So it is a heavy-duty vehicle that is great for off-road and also has an escape pod. It turns into that Batmobile bike, I think. I don't know what it's called. But it has an escape pod available as well if things do go awry with it. And it's perfect. It's amazing. Maybe not as stylish as the other Batmobiles. Not as cool necessarily. But I would say those categories of car, that type of car that the other Batmobiles would fall under, I have different cars selected for that. But for my all-terrain vehicle, my off-road vehicle, my heavy-duty hits the fan vehicle, my post-apocalyptic vehicle of choice is the Tumbler from Batman Begins. And I guess it's in all the Batmans, right? Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, all of those movies. So that is my 5th pick, number 5. Coming in at number 4, my 4th favorite pick, the pick that I want a little bit more than the Tumbler, right? Like this is a better case scenario, right? This is like, maybe shit's not hitting the fan, but maybe things are a little bit more difficult, we're still not, World War III, we're not post-apocalyptic, but maybe there's some hard times. Maybe I need a vehicle with a little bit more room. I need something like a van, right? I need something that can really store, that's something I could live in if I need to live in. Something that I could be like a portable workstation if I need that. So coming in at number 4, my 4th favorite movie vehicle is from movies that I haven't seen, but I have seen the cartoons they were based on. And that is the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. The van, the Mystery Machine van. I do love the paint job. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the flower power 420 weed culture aesthetic. But I do enjoy the aesthetic. I think it's fun. And as far as like a van that I could live in, this one has a bunch of equipment that's inside. It is not a real van. It is similar to a 1960s era panel van. Of course, has the flower power type design on the outside, but inside has a bunch of equipment. It has a kitchen area inside. It also has a bunch of computer equipment inside with an antenna that can plug into the top. So I can do this podcast from inside the Mystery Machine. It would be a mobile studio for me. And if things go a little bit worse than they are now, it would be somewhere I could live. Sleep in the mystery van, which I'm sure I would get hassled a lot from people wanting to look at it and look inside it, which would be okay, I guess. Would probably get tired of it for a while, but I do like the look of it. And as far as a van goes, it's competing against something like maybe the A-Team van, which is a van that I loved growing up. I love the A-Team, but the A-Team van is kind of like, it's kind of rapey. It has like weird vibes to it. It's black, no real windows, got like that red stripe going down the side. Definitely more covert. It's definitely a scarier look to a van. And I want to portray a happier vibe when I'm out living in my van. So I think the Mystery Machine would do the job quite nicely. And that's why it is coming in at number 4, the Mystery Machine.
I want to take a quick break from the show to let you all know that there is official merch for the Ray Taylor Show. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com. You can get t-shirts, different artwork available, different designs, all on high quality materials in all the sizes. There's also iPhone cases made of biodegradable material. That's right. This is not bad for the environment. This is good for the environment. So all of those designs that are available on t-shirts are also available on phone cases. Designed by me, sold by me. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com to support the Ray Taylor Show and promote it out in the world, so all of the people in your life can see that you are a fan of the Ray Taylor Show. Now, let's get back to that very show right now.
Moving on to my third favorite movie vehicle, the vehicle that I would like the third most, right? It's not post-apocalyptic. I'm not basically homeless. But this is a vehicle that I would love and would be able to offer me a lot of possibilities, a lot of things. The reason why it's at number 3 and maybe not higher is because I think this vehicle would be a very popular choice, and there's already a lot of people that kind of have this car. It's a very popular car for people to have for a lot of reasons, but I had to choose it as well, and I chose a specific model from a specific movie because this similar to the Tumbler, this vehicle is in multiple movies, is part of a franchise, is a iconic part of an iconic franchise. So coming in at number 3 is the 1981 DMC-12, the DeLorean from Back to the Future 2. Specifically Back to the Future 2, because I want it to fly and I want it to run on Mr. Fusion. I want to be able to put garbage inside of Mr. Fusion and for that to be the fuel source. I don't want to have to use gasoline. The time travel aspect of the DeLorean in general, I love that. But specifically Back to the Future 2 DeLorean would be amazing. Obviously, flying would be a great thing. I would love the ability to travel across the world in my DeLorean, but I would also love to travel across time in my DeLorean. I would love to go back to the 90s. I would love to jump into the future, maybe get some stock tips for the future. I don't know how much of the future I would change, but, you know, it'd be interesting. I'd probably cause a lot of problems. To be honest, I'd probably cause a lot of problems, but I would love to do it nonetheless. And the DeLorean is so common. Like, if every car show, if you ever go to a car show, like every car show I have ever gone to has a DeLorean, has a Back to the Future DeLorean, which is kind of a bummer. Because they're not, obviously not the time machine. They obviously can't fly. They obviously don't work on Mr. Fusion. I am taking the fictional movie version of this car, but it is like, I don't know, it's not very unique, right? I'm not really standing out. And the DeLorean, it's kind of ugly, like that boxy stainless steel look to it. I don't know. You know, it definitely has vibes of that Elon Musk is trying to bring back with the truck, right? I forget what it's called, but the DeLorean specifically from Back to the Future 2 coming in at number 3. Moving on to my second favorite, my second most wanted movie vehicle, movie car. This is a car from a movie I watched for the first time fairly recently. It is a car that is featured as one of the main characters. It is the titular character of the movie. And coming in at number 2 is the 1958 Plymouth Fury Christine, from the horror film written by Stephen King about a car that's obsessed with her owner and kills everybody that picks on her owner, is referred to as a woman, is kind of portrayed as a scorned woman, as a jealous woman, and a car that can also fix herself, which I appreciate that. There are moments in Christine where the car gets completely demolished, but is able to regenerate and fix and repair itself, which I would love. I would love a car not only that can fix itself, but looks as badass. Like, this is my classic car, right? I've got the time machine car. I've got that can fly, my flying time machine car. I've got my homeless van, my mobile workstation van. I've got my post-apocalyptic off-road vehicle. And now I have my classic car. I think the look of Christine is badass. I don't know if I would have the red paint job necessarily, but I love the fins on the back. I love that look. Like, it's a sporty look, but also like has that 50s classic car, right? It looks like a fast car from the 50s. I love the look of it. Absolutely love the look of it. And I really liked Christine. I thought it's definitely, I believe, I don't know where it landed, but it did make my top 5 horror movies by Stephen King list, if you want to check out that episode. But yeah, definitely an amazing looking car, a sexy car. Like, definitely out of the cars I've chosen, it is the sexiest car, right? The DeLorean is kind of like, has that 80s boxy nerd look to it, right? Definitely more scientific look, especially the Back to the Future DeLorean. It's got all the pipes and things and hoses and all that stuff. It's definitely like a Frankenstein looking car, not sexy at all. The Mystery Machine, not sexy at all. Mystery Machine I associate with pot. Purely getting high in that van a lot. And then the Tumbler, not sexy at all. Tumbler is like survival kind of sexy, I guess. But the Plymouth Fury, 1958 Plymouth Fury Christine, is the sexiest car on my list so far, and it is the pick I chose for classic car. And it is the car that I would love to own right now. I would drive it right now, even though I would have to park it outside, which is a bummer. I would prefer to have a garage for this car, absolutely. But it is a car I would love to drive. It is sexy as hell, and it's easily my number 2, right? And I'm not even a classic car guy. I'm more of a modern technology type of guy. But and I'm not like a muscle car kind of a guy. The DeLorean in some ways is kind of not really a muscle car, but this would be the closest to like a muscle car that I would choose on this list. Spoilers for number one. I didn't pick a muscle car for number one. But coming in at number two is the 1958 Plymouth Fury from Christine.
Let's take a little break from the show to promote The Many Faces. That's right, I am also an artist. I do ink paintings on paper of abstract faces. A new face, a new painting gets released every single day over at inspireddisorder.com. So head on over to my website to purchase original artwork directly from the artist. Also, there are prints available for select images. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com, buy original art, buy prints if that's your jam, if you want 8x10 prints on high quality paper. Also, if you're looking to wear some art, there are shirts available with original artwork by myself. Select faces from The Many Faces are also available in t-shirt form. You go to inspireddisorder.com, you buy original artwork, you buy prints, you buy shirts. You're supporting an artist directly. And if you're the type of person that likes to invest in NFTs, there are also NFTs available for select faces. Go to inspireddisorder.com now. And now let's get back to the show.
Moving on to my number one favorite car, the car that I would love to have most, the car that I would love to own and drive, and it is a fictional car that does not exist. So unlike pretty much all, I mean, I guess it's closest to the Tumbler. That is not a car that exists, I don't believe. But this car coming in at number one is also from a great movie, an underrated movie from Steven Spielberg. A great action movie, sci-fi movie. Coming in at number one is the Lexus 2054 from Minority Report. Now, I'm going to say, does look a little goofy. It almost looks like the car is going backwards. The way it's designed almost looks like the back is the front is the back. However, my memory, I haven't watched this movie in a while, but every time I've watched this movie, I'm like, I wish I had that car. One, would love a Lexus. I think Toyota, it's part of Toyota. I think Toyota makes great cars. This was a car, the concept came from Spielberg. He is a Lexus owner and contacted Lexus to design a car for his futuristic movie, Minority Report. This car runs on fuel cells, which I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming electric. You know, it's going to run, it's a future car, so it's going to be running on a fuel source that is not polluting to the world, is probably very good for the environment. It's also a tech-heavy car, self-driving. It's crash-proof, structurally crash-proof. It has a biometric security system, and it's got all the bells and whistles of a modern tech-heavy car, and is something that I would love. Like, as far as all of the cars, I have always loved this Lexus 2054 from Minority Report. It is, like, as far as a car that I wish I could own and drive. And it's like, I guess it'd be kind of closest to like a muscle car. It's definitely has that kind of roadster type of a look to it. But it's a high-end, like, tech future car. And I would absolutely love to drive it, love to be in it, and ride in it. And just, I have a feeling it would be comfortable. I'd be able to do all the cool things on it. It would be a smooth ride. I don't know. It's the car that I've always wished I mean, back in my before Minority Report came out, it was always the DeLorean. When I was a kid, I always wished I wanted to get a DeLorean. My neighbor growing up had a DeLorean. I was like, one day I'm going to buy a DeLorean from him, and I'm going to turn it into a time machine because movies are real. And then you find out movies aren't real and that DeLoreans need a lot of repair. They're not great cars. But yeah, ever since I saw the Lexus in Minority Report, I was like, and even when thinking of this list, it was the no-brainer. I was like, yes, 100%. And even going through all the different cars that are potential cars that could have been chosen, you know, it was a pretty easy list. There was definitely some muscle cars, especially from the Fast and the Furious. franchise. There's a lot of muscle cars to choose from, a lot of different movies, but muscle cars aren't really my thing as much. These are definitely a list of cars that I would love for different reasons and would love to own them. So number one, the car that I would absolutely love as like a realistic, like I would use it all the time, I would love to have that car, is the Lexus 2055. But one more time, this is my top 5 movie cars / trucks / vans / vehicles. My top 5 movie vehicles. Starting off with number 5 is the Tumbler from Batman Begins. Number 4 is the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. Number 3 is the DeLorean, the 1981 DMC-12 DeLorean from Back to the Future 2. Number 2 is the 1958 Plymouth Fury from Christine. Number 1 is my Lexus 2054 from Minority Report. That is my top. Those are my top 5 vehicles I would love to own. Obviously, Tumbler is my off-road utility post-apocalyptic vehicle. Number 4 is my about to be homeless van I'm going to live out of. Number 3 is a time travel flying car that I can use to escape life and reality. Number 2 is a car that I would actually love to own and drive on a regular basis, and like kind of my classic driver. And my number 1 is my futuristic, everyday, would love to drive Lexus 2055 or 54. So that's my top 5 list. Let me know what top 5 cars you would love to own from movies. There are so many to choose from, and I would love to hear what your top 5 movie vehicles are in the comments. Hit me up on social media. I would love to hear it.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.